Hello, my name is Hakim with Takeoff Experts. Today I want to talk to you for 5 to 10 minutes about a project we did which I would classify as a unique commercial painting project. It involved repainting a communication tower over 100 feet high during summer. We had never done that before. Then I will show you what logistics were involved and the corresponding budget. In my previous video titled Common Errors in Commercial Painting Estimation, I had discussed how important it is to read the specs and the drawings carefully before costing out a commercial painting job. Similarly then, this project, although it was a repaint and did not involve measuring architectural drawings, still required careful logistical costing, as you will see in the next few minutes. The reason I'm making this video is when we are doing takeoffs for a painting project, sometimes it involves extra logistics. There are costs associated with these logistics. Now, what do I mean by extra logistics? Let's just look at this actual project I managed so you can understand. This will enable you to come up with your own budget. You see, we can do takeoffs for you. We can measure everything in the blueprints that need to be painted and transfer it into a spreadsheet for you to make your bidding process easier. But you will have to decide on a budget yourself for these extra logistics, which should be based on pricing in your city and possibly even climate conditions specific to your geographical area. So here is the story. 6 years ago, I got a call from a repeat customer. This company installs communication towers in Western Canada. They had installed a tower on a church property 1 year prior, which needed to be repainted because of a color change request by the church from yellow to off-white. So here again is the tower we had to paint at the church property. Some churches rent out space on their property to cell phone companies to generate some extra income to operate their church. I think that's smart and a great win-win situation. The tower was about 110 feet high. I decided to rent a telescopic lift with a 125-foot reach capacity. Whenever I've rented a lift, I always rent something that will have a higher reach than the maximum height of the substrate to be painted. This way, the lift is not getting fully extended and is more stable. Now, this is very important to keep in mind because I have never worked on an exterior repaint project where the ground was 100% even. And in today's lifts, which have sensors, if the ground is uneven, the lift will refuse to extend to its full height capacity if it senses risk of toppling. So be very careful to rent a lift that is more than adequate for exterior jobs. Otherwise, you may end up in a situation whereby you have to return a lift and rent another bigger one, which will cost you extra time in lost production and extra freight. The specified paint for this project was Tinemec paint, which comes as a two-part product. It is also used in airports for painting towers and so on. I wanted to make sure, as the painting contractor taking on the project responsibilities, that the extendable axles of the heavy lift did not damage the parking lot with the heavy wheels extending and retracting and turning action. Another damage that occurs with these very heavy lifts is depressing or denting the asphalt. This risk of damage can be reduced by using mats under the wheels to distribute the weight a bit and avoid scraping the surface. I had debated between renting or buying something to protect the asphalt on the church's parking lot, which is not meant for heavy traffic or heavy equipment. So I decided to buy some heavy-duty plywood, and then at the end of the project, I would just give away the 6 $80 plywood sheets to someone in the construction industry for free. The plywood sheets prevented tire scrape marks on the church parking lot. It was a good decision that paid off at the end. You see, I prefer to prevent damage and avoid unnecessary claim costs from the beginning. Think of it as prep work. Proper preparation and risk mitigation makes a painting contractor like yourself look professional, and the job ends well without any claims. There was another exterior job we had done in another city where the asphalt was so old and the back alley was so narrow with passing vehicles that it was not practical to place protection mats or of any kind. I will talk about that project in another video. So my two painters did some light sanding, wiping and spray painted 2 coats of Tinemic paint on all the metal surfaces. The job turned out well because of all the precautions we had taken. The GC and the church maintenance committee were happy with the result. The message of this video then is that although we can do the architectural takeoffs for you for your commercial painting projects, you still have to ensure you budget for other costs that are not usual, such as renting lift equipment for longer than expected, or buying items which have to be disposed at the end of the project, additional disposal charges in your specific area, and so on. In the above case, it was sheets of 1-inch thick plywood and some drop sheets. At the end, I also had to rent a private refuse collector to come and take away the empty paint cans, drop sheets, etc. to a disposal facility immediately after project completion, because the church parking lot dumpster was not suitable for that. To enable you to remember better, let's quickly summarize the logistical costs I had to budget for this church tower repaint project, and then you can relate it to your next project. The lift rental of the Genie model S125 was about $1,500 per day. Now the weekly rent is $5,400. So if you divide 5,400 divided by 1,500, you get between 3 to 4 days. So when you are doing an exterior project like that, and you feel that the job might take you 4 days, it might be between 3 to 5 days, you may want to just reserve the lift for a whole week, because the cost between 4 days and 6-7 days is the same. So you have to judge based on the size of your project and your weather conditions. If the weather is unstable, then you should keep in your budget a weekly rental cost, not just a 3-day rental cost. The freight both ways was $330. Weather delays, rain, wind, etc. For that I added 1 day. Years ago when I was getting my EWP training, elevated work platform training, the instructor emphasized that when wind speeds get above 25 miles per hour or 40 kilometers per hour, you have to bring the lift down to avoid accidents, because it gets very dangerous up there. The higher up you are, the more the lift basket is going to sway in the wind. So you have to make provisions for that kind of weather also. The waste disposal, due to strict church committee requirements, was $200. I paid about that much. So you have to budget for items that I just showed you very realistically, because you can't trust the weather 100% either. If you feel this video has enabled you to think more carefully about your next project, or if you have learned something new, do click on subscribe. You can't learn everything in 1 day. I write all my own materials from scratch from my experiences of having been in the painting business for over 15 years. So I will appreciate if you share these videos with someone who may benefit from our takeoff services. I wish you success in your endeavor of bidding on commercial painting projects. See you in my next video.